Cool.
There you go. Okay, so we just wanted to thank you for having us here today, and we know that you've given up your time. And we just wanted to tell you that everything that we say and ask is confidential and only used for university purposes. And then the first one was, how did you begin your career?
How did I begin my career? Crikeys. I started my life killing pigs, so it was like, so pretty much I come back from overseas. I played cricket in England for a while and then come back and I worked for Hutton's Kiwi, who were Bacon Ham and Small Goods Company down in Frankton there. So yeah, pretty much started on a production line, and at that time they had a cadetship that they were running. So what they'd do is people that were sort of had a little bit of motivation about them and wanted to do a little bit further, they put them through study basically. So what they did is they paid for me to do, it was about 3 years of night school, and sort of got a management diploma basically. And yeah, I was quite lucky from there. Sort of I got opportunities and went into a production supervisor type role, then into a production management role, then into an operations management role, and then yeah, pretty much looked after a couple of plants, and then I've been here about 2.5 years probably.
Worked your way up.
Yeah, so, but as I say, the big things are, like, I often look back and think, shit, what started it? And it's about, you got to have a little bit of ambition and drive about you, and be prepared to take some risks. Yeah. That's probably the big thing. There's a lot of guys that I worked with back then that they're still doing the same things.
Do you feel like you'd worked super hard to get here, or you kind of just found an opportunity and just went with it?
You do have to work hard. Probably the difference is you get different jobs and there's more pressures. So you sort of start with a job, and I started with a job supervising sort of 7 people. Yeah. And you're responsible for those 7 people, and you're responsible for the financial performance of those 7 people, and then all it does is it just gets bigger. Yeah. So I always relate it to, people do get a bit shell shocked around, shit, I manage 150 people, or some people manage 5,000 people, but it's, you only actually manage the team that works for you, and then it's like a little pyramid, like
individual managers for each section.
You manage them, and it just works its way down. So that's and set some targets, as say, you're going through university, but where do you want to be in 5 years' time when you leave university? It's sort of getting motivated and doing stuff like that.
So with your week, how many hours do you think you put in a week?
Probably on average I'd do between 45 and 50 probably. Yeah. Sometimes you'll do more, sometimes you might do 55, but as I say, pretty much I work for a real good guy, it's give and take. You sort of get to the level and people, you don't clock in and out, people don't watch the hours that you work. When the job needs to be done, you just get on and do it, so it's, yeah. But on average, most people at sort of my level probably do 45 or 50 hours a week. Yeah.
Cool. Then another one was, what are some of the things that you really enjoy about your job, that you really like about being a manager?
Yeah, probably the biggest thing is, I'm big on, I like people doing well, so I like seeing people train, and we give them opportunities and they blossom basically. If you look at, we're just going through it at the moment, this business we've got about 450 people in this business, and it's grown from sort of a privately owned business that was doing about 100 grand a week. Now we do about sort of $3 million sales a week, so it's grown a lot, and the only way you can get there is through developing people. So there's a lot of people in this business that have been here for 15 years, but they've had opportunities, people have spent money on them, and yeah, they grow. So that's probably one of the big things. The other big thing is sort of, I'm really proud of the product that we produce. Yeah. So if you look at the brands we have, the products that we've got, you've got to have a lot of passion to really want them to succeed. Mm-hmm. So they're probably 2 big things. Yeah.
You said before, set goals and stuff. Did you want to work in the food industry, or was it just so happen? You just started out there and then you just grew from there?
Yeah, it's probably a good question too. I fell into it basically. If you look at, I come back from overseas, did I really know what I wanted to do? Not really. And I'd worked at Hutton's previously in holiday jobs and that, so yeah. I thought I'll go and start there and get some money coming in. But so not necessarily food, but yeah, when you guys will get sort of more specialised, and you'll probably pick the career path, but if you look at food at the moment is is a real good place to be. You know, so from a sort of domestic and international export point of view, you know, New Zealanders working in food, your job security is pretty good. You know, there's lots of opportunities there, you know.
Yeah.
And so what's one of the hardest things or the worst things that you have to do in your job? Like, what would probably be the worst thing you have to do?
Yeah, well, if you look at, we restructured about 4 months ago. You know, so sort of restructuring is exciting in the fact that you give people opportunities, but you also, you know, there's a couple of people that we let go. So, you know, those sorts of things are harder. Yeah, but, you know, in saying that, it's about, at the end of the day, if you do it properly, you treat people with respect and, you know, they go away with their integrity intact, then, yeah, that's all you can expect out of it. But they're the harder things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And then, so we're nearly finished, and we just have one more question, and it was just really your opinion on what we could do as first year management students that would help us improve our career in the future. Like, what could you recommend that we could do to help better ourselves now?
Yeah, I'd actually, like if I was you guys, especially in your holidays, and I'd actually look out, and even if you know, no one will, you know, work for nothing, but even if you could try and sort of get some jobs in the holidays and get some practical experience, you know, because I know if you look at us, we take on a couple of graduates every year, sort of, and they're at the end of their studies, but we're looking at also through the holidays, taking on, you know, people that are going through their studies and put them into a marketing team for a little while, put them into a finance team for a little while, and just give them some exposure. Yeah. Because that's the hardest thing. Like I was quite lucky in the fact that I was working, and you know, you learn all the stuff at university, and I could go and sort of practically use it pretty much straight away. Yeah. Whereas the hard thing is, you know, you go through all your study and you do it for years, and then actually practically using it and getting the value out of it. Yeah. You know, so that's probably...
So just more kind of get into the industry and get some experience and whatnot.
And sort of, you know, get a bit targeted around where you want to go, you know, and what sort of field you want to get into, you know, and do some research. You know, companies, for example, you know, it's easy to find companies on the net and that are aggressive, growing, you know, looking for opportunities, you know, and they're the sort of companies you want to be with. You know, like I come out of, let's say, Hutton's Kiwi and Goodman Fielder, and the business was going like that, basically. Yeah. You know, I've come into a business sort of like this that's exceptionally growing. You know, like even this year we're sort of 10% above last year, you know, off a sales base of about 120 million. So, you know, it's really exciting, and those sort of things really
make you like your work, you know, it's going towards something.
That's the thing. So yeah, so I'd say that, and just live a bit too. You know, you want to get out and meet people, and as I say, lots of people have different experiences and they do different jobs, and the more people you can talk to about what you want to do, probably the better off you'll be.
You said this company's going like uphill. Has there ever been like a downhill stage and you just like kind of, you got sick of it? Like if the company was going down, were you just not kind of happy for your job kind of thing?
Oh, like if you look at the company I come from, you know, like it was a great business, and there was an ownership change, and a guy called Graham Hart brought it. You know, and Graham Hart's sort of big on, he buys businesses and pretty much splits them up, sells pieces of them off, and then makes a little bit of money out of the transaction, you know. And like I was in a business there probably for the last 18 months I was there, I didn't enjoy it at all, you know. So you get up, Monday comes, you know, you don't really want to go to work, you know. But that can be tough, you know, because you get to sort of the level that I'm at, and the jobs, especially in the Waikato, if we wanted to stay around here, there's not that many jobs around, you know, so you've got to wait quite a long time till the right one comes along, you know. So but yeah, like growth, you know, as I say, this company here, it started 25 years ago. A guy called Bernie Crosby started it, and I tell you, there'd be no food company in New Zealand growing as quickly as what we are at the moment. So
something to be proud of.
It's, as I say, he's really proud of it, and we're really proud of it, you know. So
Do you think about the like when you go home, do you just still think about work, or you're just over it? Well, not over it, but you know, you just
more relaxed.
I'm at home time kind of thing.
I've always been quite lucky that sort of I've never taken work home, you know, and some people wake up in the middle of the night all the time and thinking about it. You know, there's times it does happen, but generally, you got to learn to sort of, once you walk out, you know, it's not as if you don't care about the business and work's always there tomorrow, but you've got to have your time to relax.
Office hours, home's home.
Yeah. But like the phone still goes at 6 or 7 or 8, and I still answer it and do what we need to do. But you switch off, but you're not sort of 100% in it. But it's always, if they need you, then someone's there. So.
One question I have is, you said sort of live a little bit and also get some experience, but how important do you think like grades at university are, and being
that's
like,
right.
would you take somebody who's got more experience, or is the grades that important, or is it just good to be an all-round sort of person?
Yeah, like if you look at graduates that we employ, Lisa Nixon, she's our sort of general manager of HR, but we look for people that, say, you're not a dummy, your grades are pretty good, but people that have got a little bit of charisma about them as well. Someone that's sort of super intelligent, they have their skill set. We're looking for people that sort of come into our culture and succeed in our culture,
Fit well in the company.
Yeah, so they're reasonably bubbly. So, cultural fit and sort of personality, if you went to most companies, that'll get you in the door, probably a lot more than what sort of the difference between a B+ and an A+ will, Yeah. So, grades are important, but that sort of, that your mannerism, your attitude to life, your ability to sort of probably just interact, is really important. Yeah, we that's definitely for us, we find it really important.
Do you guys have any more questions? Yeah.
What about like your relationships with people within here? Like, do
you know them all really well, or like your close management team?
Yeah. So like, I'm the sort of guy, as say when I started here, the first 6 months was just set a goal for myself around building solid relationships with the people that work for me. Because at the end of the day, I'm nothing without good people sort of behind me. So I believe you build strong relationships. And I probably do things for them that some bosses wouldn't do, but hopefully I get the loyalty in return. When the times get tough, or someone needs to work 12 hours in a day, or those sorts of things, they'll do it for me. So.
What about people like? Okay, I know like there's always someone that you can't have the best relationship with. Like, how do you work on that?
Yeah, it's depends what I want out of them. Like at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. Like, there's people, like I sit on an exec team that it's good to have tension, and we have some great arguments at times around what we think we should do, and that's good. But at the end of the day, I sort of try and fry the big eggs, so like if something's worth arguing about, then argue about it. And there's some people that, your working life, you'll see some people like to argue a bit more than others, But I pretty much, you have to build a working relationship with everyone, like, and as I say, there's just degrees of it, like, would I go out for a beer with some people? No, I wouldn't, but others I would, so I'd put it that way really, But it doesn't affect the way I interact with them or, work with them on a day-to-day basis.
How do your meetings go? Like, do you have to have them every week, every month, or like what are they based around? Or?
So pretty much like I have a meeting with my guys once a week. So, and I'm sort of big on structure and planning. So like I like to sort of set agenda, and it gets circulated the day before we meet, so everyone knows what we're going to be talking about. So they're quite prepared around, if I'm going to ask them a hard question, they know they had their research done, So that we have, that's with my guys. They have a meeting with their guys every day. Okay, so all the warehouse guys, supply chain guys, purchasing guys and operations guys, they meet every day. So they go through any issues that they have, so it's probably a quarter of an hour. My team, our exec team, we meet once a week. Okay, so we go through financial results, opportunities, any issues. So we go through that once a week. And then we have a board meeting once every 2 months. Okay, so that's where we report to pretty much the board. So we have 5 people on our board. So we have to obviously give them an update of how the business is going, same sort of thing, what opportunities we're working on, what challenges we've got.
Do you ever interact face to face with people near the bottom of the chain?
In the warehouse or the
those kind of
Yeah, definitely. I'm out there every day.
Right.
So I walk pretty much through operations, through warehousing, talk to me purchasing guys pretty much every day. And I believe like I've come from there, and at the end of the day they do just as important a job as what I do. They need to turn up every day, they need to give their best. That's sort of what I believe. But it's easy for people to get better jobs and sort of forget where they come from, or forget the important people in the business, and the important people in the business is everyone, not just the CEO or anyone else,
Was that all, guys?
No, I've won. How much of the business do you, would you know the ins and outs of pretty much everything, or is there sort of specialist areas that you don't need to know much about, or is it you just know everything?
Yeah, pretty much I'm lucky in my role that I cover sort of a lot of the business, so there's, if you look at our exec team, for example, we've got sort of sales people, marketing people, operations people, finance people, HR people, and if you looked at sort of probably some of your marketing people, some of your HR people probably don't have as broad a knowledge of the business, but one of the key tricks is actually getting to know every part of the business, so whether you're in HR or marketing or operations, the more you can know about the business, the better grounding it gives you for getting involved in sort of strategy discussions and actually planning for the business. So pretty much finance is for everyone, so everyone knows how a business is tracking on a weekly basis, monthly basis.
They all have their individual budgets and whatnot to need.
Yeah, and even sort of accumulated up at a top line level, we all know pretty much to the thousands of dollars sort of how our business is going,
And who controls that? Is it, do you have quite a big part to play in that, or?
Yeah, so pretty much how it works, and every company works the same. They'll have sort of a finance director, or we have a general manager of finance. He's responsible for putting numbers out. Okay, so he, with the input of us, sort of sets the budget, but he publishes it. So, and it's his job then to circulate how we're going to those numbers. But pretty much everyone, like in my area, I know how my area is going. I don't need him to give me the numbers. Yeah. But that's how they work. He'll publish them at the end of the month. But the good people, they know how their business is tracking all the time. Numbers. Or you do your own numbers. There's enough sort of all the decent computer systems. I can punch into any cost centre, any wage bill, anything else, just to see how I'm running versus budget. And our sales numbers are the same. We can get in there and have a look at those, and most people do.
So is it you that has to answer to the higher up people if it's a bad period? Or not?
And definitely, and that's the piece. At the end of the day, nothing goes perfectly well all of the time. Yeah. So you're going to have your times when you need to stand up and say it hasn't worked. Here's the reason. Here's what I'm going to do about it. Here's the plans we're going to put in place. So and that's like good teams. Sort of that's the tension. You need to put pressure on each other around getting the best out of each other. So it's you guys are just starting out on your careers, but you'll see what I mean in 10 or 15 years time. You can sit on teams and no one really puts any pressure on anyone, but the good teams put pressure on each other and
make you work harder.
Yeah, and it just makes you work harder. So.
Are the different departments sort of competitive with each other?
Yeah, definitely. If you look around here, they are.
Okay.
So we have a really competitive culture. So it's about being better. If you look at shifts, I've got pretty much 2 shifts that run, like an AM shift and a PM shift. They are ultra competitive around the results they get. And the good thing is that's good for me because they're trying to do better all the time. If you look at even sort of cross-functionally, so if you look at sort of marketing, operations, finance, there's things like we have an innovation funnel. So pretty much you put an innovation idea in. Okay, what that does is goes down, and if it's a good idea, it gets implemented. We put out basically for the best idea $150 a month. And the team that sort of has the most ideas at the end of the year, they get taken out for dinner and drinks and that sort of stuff. So there's things like that where we do try and get some competition going between different groups. But competition's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it should. The more competitive you are, the more you want to win. Then if you get enough of those people, you win. And that's as simple as that.
How would you lay out your average day? Like, you get up, come to work, go home, but
what tasks, like specific tasks do you do?
Yeah, so pretty much as sort of quite structured, so I'll get to work at sort of 7:30, 7:45. I do my emails first pretty much, so I spend about an hour doing emails. Then from there I'll go into look at supplies, so look at sort of what we've sold yesterday versus what we've sort of short shipped. So if customers have put orders through and we haven't fulfilled them, have a look at that. Then from there I'll go out onto the production floor. Okay, so and this is like a general day. You have meetings in and around them, but sort of spend an hour to an hour and a half on the production floor. Basically, come back in, touch base with sort of procurement planning people. Not in any particular order, but something like that.
Yeah.
And then from there in the afternoon, sort of spend some time in the warehouse and looking with the freight guys just to see what's going out and what's coming through. And from there, probably do a few more emails or any reports or anything like that, and it's pretty much my day,
Home time.
Yeah, yeah. But I like to be, and I encourage people to be structured and planned. So.
Keep to the same.
Yeah, if you look at it like in manufacturing, there's a big sort of buzzword, sort of lean manufacturing, and all it's about is planning and being structured. So you have your time to do your pieces. So whether it's writing a report or checking emails, or give yourself the time. Otherwise, your day just goes, and then there's you don't get anything done. Yeah. Even things like sort of to-do lists, simple things like that. What are you going to accomplish today? What do you need to do?
Set the time and book it in.
Record it, because things that are visual, you hit. Things that are in your mind, usually you don't.
Yeah.
So.
Do you find from my experience, the manager always thought that the boss was kind of didn't really get it, didn't really get where what was happening on the floor kind of thing? Do you find that your boss doesn't really just doesn't get it sometimes?
Yeah, it's interesting, if you look at, I work for a guy, Andrew Smith, so Andrew was a Rhodes Scholar, okay, so he was a Rhodes Scholar in mathematics and physics, decided to get into marketing, so he come back, and Andrew pretty much, and if he was sitting there, he wouldn't mind me saying, if I take him down to the production floor, he's learning more now, but he doesn't really know what he's looking at, so it's, you get specialists, and so he just needs to know when I'm having issues, and at the end of the day, sort of what's my plan, so I write a sort of an operations strategy and update it every year. He's really keen on seeing that. So, sort of, what does my plan look like? How am I going to improve? What capital am I going to spend? So he's big on those sorts of things.
Yeah.
But you get him down into a production environment, and if my guys were doing sort of what they shouldn't be doing, he wouldn't really pick it up.
Yeah.
So, but as say you throw a spreadsheet in front of him or something like that, he is
Hell no.
super clever.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Do you find you're kind of maybe a little bit behind on some things? Because obviously everything's changed since you were on the production line.
Yeah. Yeah, it did, and at the end of the day, you're never going to be good at everything.
Yeah.
If you look at, we're just doing some development stuff now actually, and we really focus on your strengths. So whatever you're good at, put your energy into those. Don't worry about what you're not good at. That's, so as you carve your management careers, you'll see, because not many people are good at everything, but work out your strengths and drive the strengths.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the weaknesses, because as say you'll spend twice as much time on the weaknesses, and you won't get half the benefit that you did if you spent all that time on what you're good at. So.
How much do you think the influence of the changing technology and stuff like that, how is that affecting the business?
Yeah, it's huge. If you looked at things like iPads, so pretty much we have probably if you look at our business, we've got 3 key brands really. So if you look at Mother Earth, so we have a range of nuts and muesli bars under that brand. we have, there's no value pack there, but there's a sort of budget range that we have. And the big part of our business is Alison's Pantry, which is, so if you go into any sort of New World or Pack and Save, they're the bins at the back of the store. They might have lollies, nuts, mueslis.
I like the bulk bin.
Yeah, that's it. So if you go in there, pretty much at the moment, all our people fill out an order form and fax it. You know, so we're pretty much going to load them up with iPads. Okay, so what they have is the set template in their iPad. They can see emails, they can communicate through it. So yeah, so it'll change our business a lot. You know, even down to, you look at, we've got 4 customer services people that are waiting for faxes to come in to manually punch them. You know, whereas we'll go basically in an EDI system, which straight off the iPad, straight through our system, straight down onto a warehouse sort of pick queue. So the guys can physically pick the order and then away. But that's probably the biggest opportunity for any business right now.
Yeah.
You know, like it's expensive, but if you can get the synergies and the efficiencies out of it, then yeah,
It'll pay off.
it's huge. Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Is that all, guys?
That's
Is
about
that
it.
all?
Okay,
Cool.
excellent. Well, I hope that helped.
Yeah, it helps heaps.
Yeah.
Thank you for meeting with us and
No
giving us
problems.
that time.
No problems. I hope your class goes good.
Yeah, hopefully.